Deep in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains lies a forgotten town known as Ravenswood. Nestled amidst towering pines and shrouded in perpetual mist, Ravenswood had been abandoned for decades, its dilapidated buildings slowly being consumed by nature's grasp. Legend had it that Ravenswood was cursed, its soil tainted by the blood of a dark past. The townsfolk spoke of a malevolent presence that lurked in the shadows, whispering sinister secrets to those who dared to venture too close. Among the ruins of Ravenswood stood an old mansion, crumbling and decrepit, yet radiating an eerie aura that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. It was known as the Blackwood Manor, and it was said to be the epicenter of the town's curse. One fateful night, a group of adventurous teenagers decided to explore Ravenswood, drawn by the allure of its haunted reputation. Among them was Sarah, a fearless thrill-seeker with a penchant for the supernatural. Joining her were Jake, the skeptic who scoffed at tales of ghosts and ghouls, Emily, the bookworm who was fascinated by the occult, and Alex, the daredevil who never backed down from a challenge. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the town, the air grew thick with unease and the mist seemed to coil around them like the fingers of a ghostly specter. Despite their apprehension, the group pressed on, their curiosity overpowering their fear. Their journey led them to the looming silhouette of Blackwood Manor, its darkened windows staring out like vacant eyes. With trembling hands, they pushed open the creaking door and stepped into the abyss of the abandoned mansion. Inside, the air was heavy with dust and decay, and the silence was deafening. As they explored the mansion's labyrinthine halls, strange whispers echoed through the corridors, sending chills down their spines. Suddenly, they stumbled upon a hidden staircase leading down into the bowels of the earth. Ignoring the warning signs, they descended into the darkness, their footsteps echoing ominously against the stone walls. At the bottom of the staircase, they found themselves in a dimly lit chamber, its walls adorned with arcane symbols and sinister sigils. In the center of the room stood an ancient altar, bathed in the flickering light of blood-red candles. As they approached the altar, a sense of dread washed over them, and they realized too late that they had stumbled upon something far more sinister than they could have imagined. Before they could react, the shadows around them began to coalesce, twisting and writhing like living tendrils. With a deafening roar, a monstrous figure emerged from the darkness, its eyes burning with unholy fire. It was a creature of nightmares, a manifestation of the town's darkest secrets and deepest fears. In a frenzy of terror, the teenagers fled from the chamber, their screams echoing through the halls of Blackwood Manor. But no matter how fast they ran, the malevolent presence pursued them relentlessly, its baleful gaze never wavering. As they reached the mansion's entrance, they were greeted by a sight that chilled them to the core. The mist had thickened into an impenetrable fog, obscuring their path and trapping them within the cursed confines of Ravenswood. With nowhere left to run, they huddled together in terror, knowing that they were at the mercy of forces beyond their comprehension. And as the darkness closed in around them, they knew that they would never escape the haunted town of Ravenswood alive. Hours passed, each one feeling like an eternity as the teenagers cowered in the darkness, their hearts pounding with fear. The oppressive silence was broken only by the sound of their ragged breathing and the faint whispers that seemed to echo from the shadows. As dawn approached, a faint glimmer of hope flickered in their hearts. Perhaps, they thought, they could make a break for it under the cover of daylight. Gathering their courage, they prepared to make a run for the town's outskirts, praying that they could outrun whatever malevolent force held Ravenswood in its grip. But as they reached the threshold of Blackwood Manor, their hopes were dashed once more. The fog had thickened even further, swirling around them like a living barrier, cutting off all escape routes. Desperate and terrified, they turned back towards the mansion, hoping to find some refuge within its walls. But as they stepped across the threshold, they were greeted by a sight that froze them in their tracks. The mansion had changed. What once stood as a crumbling relic of the past now loomed before them, grand and imposing, its walls pulsating with a sinister energy. The air hummed with power, and the very ground beneath their feet seemed to tremble with anticipation. With mounting horror, they realized the truth. Blackwood Manor was alive, a sentient being fueled by the dark magic that permeated Ravenswood. and they were its unwilling prisoners, trapped in a nightmare from which there was no escape. As the realization dawned on them, the mansion's doors slammed shut with a resounding boom, sealing them inside its malevolent embrace. And in that moment, they knew that they were doomed to wander the cursed halls of Blackwood Manor for all eternity, their souls forever trapped in the darkness of Ravenswood.